the FNL Network talk show.
Thank you guys for joining our FNL Network talk show. I'm with my amazing co-hosts, Holly and Sean and Jeff. You have an interesting nickname that's assigned to your Zoom.
No, it's Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah. So welcome. It's almost Christmas time. Really excited to be here. How are you guys doing?
Good. Happy Hanukkah to all those celebrating. I like kugel. I like latkes. I like money. I like dreidels. I like guilt. I'll take it all. So, hey, feel free, Spielberg, call me. I'm down with the Feldmans, like I'm there, and deck the halls with Holly. So I'm excited.
I'll claim it. Yeah, I'll claim it. I can literally claim my name during this season. I have the full rights. It's my window and I'm going through it, right, Sean?
Do it. Deck the halls. And that's what I'm saying, wherever those halls may be.
I will do it. I'll do it.
Jeff, how about you?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying the holidays. It's always festive for me. It's a wonderful time of the season. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I love your glasses. They're so stylish.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't like to wear my glasses too much because people are always like, you wear these crazy frames. I was like, but if I'm gonna be a fashion designer, I might as well represent who I'm supposed to be. So I'm trying to do that. Thank you.
Nice. Sean, do you want to take over and say
Sure.
what is our...
Yeah, I had seen I don't know if anybody else has been watching on Netflix, the whole, Meghan and Harry documentary. Does anybody have any thoughts about it? I mean, I have a lot of different opposing views. I found it fascinating. I've seen all but to the very end, so I'm almost done with it. It all makes sense to me. I believe them. But personally, I don't know if any goods can come from it. By mentioning that your dad was selling your story to the press, how are you going to mend that relationship? By mentioning that, Prince William was being overshadowed by Harry and Meghan, how are you going to heal that relationship? On the other hand, if you're no longer part of the royal family, how do you pay for your own security? And how do you make a livelihood and stay accustomed to the livelihood you were used to as Prince Harry? I don't really know. I mean, to me, it's a very fine line. What did you think about the documentary? Have you seen it? Any thoughts about the relationship in general? Whoever would like to go, Eugenia or Holly or Jeff?
I've seen it. I can tell you that it was the first that it's kind of different because in the documentary, they speak a lot together. You can definitely tell they're a unit, Harry and Meghan. I respect their honesty. What they say, Harry's really direct, and he is not afraid. And what this shows is that there's been a lot of bullying going around, and he is very vocal about the press, and he literally speaks to it like it's the enemy. And I think they all kind of feel that way. And it's not the empire and the press against them and their little affair or how they started. Really what manifests through the whole thing is the whole family versus the press. I just thought that angle was very, very interesting and very unique. It was Harry's take on it, and he made it seem like it was from that end,
Sure. What about you?
Yeah, I just feel like what she was saying is true. Sometimes, this is my opinion, I feel like people expressing what they feel is a healing. I felt like he carried it all his life, and I feel like there's a releasing going on with him. So he's talking about what actually transpired in his life as a child, competing with his brother. A lot of times that happens, but I feel like it's a healing, even though it's an exposing. I feel like there's healing and there's going to be a mending. How he mends it with his father and what he's telling the media and the press. I don't know, that's kind of iffy because you don't really want to disrupt that family dynamics, but I feel like it's a cry out in his own way, not in a bad.
Jeff, you being a person of color, do you feel that there was definitely racial bias against Meghan, like they had claimed?
I don't know. Sometimes it's really hard to talk about those issues because she is a young lady that's mixed. I just don't know. You have to. I can't make an opinion on that unless I'm there to see the actual situation. We only can believe what she's saying. I don't really know either side of this situation, but from what she's saying, I feel like she's saying, there's some hurt there, but it's royalty. It's not, it's not normal for a young black girl or young black lady to be a part of a royal lineage that has been there for years. So she might be getting some backlash. I don't want to put my self-opinion on that. I just, I would have to be there to be able to judge that accurately. That's how I look at it.
Oh, just judge away. We like that. I'm kidding. No, my question for you would be, we were mentioning like institutional racism, like one of the women in the royal family, I forgot who, but princess or queen, somebody or another, had like an offensive brooch on, and things that was never really necessarily brought to the royals' attention. And so Harry said by going into the service and from things he chose to do, he essentially educated himself and learned about the world outside of their family, outside of the institution, and that a lot of like racial bias cannot necessarily have malintent consciously, but it's just like kind of ingrained within the system, where things that people overlook, even like statues that they have, may be offensive because it's like celebrating past slavery or what have you, where it was never addressed. Is that something that you think in American society or even like abroad needs to be addressed? I mean, I know like a lot of times they're saying like, oh, don't guilt children about the past, but is it really guilt to just say like, no, like white people aren't always nice? I mean, we weren't very kind to the Native Americans. We weren't really kind when we were taking trips to Africa. I mean, is there anything wrong with acknowledging mistakes from the past to learn from them?
Yes, I like I said last time, I think we brought up this discussion. I feel like it's a generational curse breaking that's going on. I feel like he don't like some of the things that were going on within the royal lineage, and I feel like he's trying to get out of that just to enjoy life, enjoy people, period. Like, I just say this: blacks can be mean, whites can be mean. It just depends on the person. I don't want to stereotype people. It's just people. People are being who they are. People are being how, acting according to the way they were raised, because a lot of things are put in you and you're only acting out what has already been put in you. So I don't want to be someone that just pointing the finger on just a white thing. It could be both sides. It could be a black or a white thing. That's just my opinion. I'm always try to be very neutral and always try to see it from both sides, because I don't want to be a person that people look at me and say that, oh, I don't like this person, I don't like that person. I think it's just a person's opinion and how they were raised.
Yeah, to me, it seemed like Harry was placing blame, but that's his life experience. He even mentioned that Meghan could have had a miscarriage because of one of the local English papers printing, a letter from her father, and all the stress and the attacks. And of course, it makes sense, like, look at what happened to Diana. So he felt like history could repeat itself and he had to pull out. And he was saying, to my acknowledgement of what I viewed him saying, is that the institution of the royal family, they had their own media spin. So yes, the media is to blame, but a lot of it was because they wanted Prince William to be the star and not Prince Harry. And that they also weren't necessarily so supportive of like, opening up to other races and making everybody, feel welcome, that they wanted to keep the institution as is. And grandma was just kind of silent. I mean, that's kind of my takeaway on it. I mean, I might have been wrong. What did you get from it, Eugenia?
Well, you guys don't forget that Meghan is an actress, and I just know too much behind the scenes how the shows are done. Is it entertaining? Yes. Of course, there's some issues, like you said, the racism. I think it's amazing that we talk about it, because it's really important to talk about things to heal them. And hopefully people will take something positive out of it. But did I watch it? I didn't want to spend my time doing that. I think it's narcissistic, like, people in Hollywood always do that, and you can manipulate the press. For me, it's a little bit type of like Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, similar situation, where people, you like believe one side, but you don't know the full picture. Nobody's perfect. I think there are problems on both sides, and I don't think I will ever understand that, not knowing, the people, what is actually happening, just because I know press is so easily manipulated, and the way you cut and edit and where you put like the tear and you cry and you show the angles, I think there's just too much is done for money rather than, solves the problem. That's what I think. Like, if you want to heal and solve the problem, you don't do it in that public way. But of course, they're royals, so that's just what I think. Like, honestly, I prefer to separate private things from public, and sometimes you use public space for loathing and something else, and self-acceptance, and the ratings and whatever, the money, so there's also that, like, whatever you see like on Instagram or on Netflix, it doesn't reflect the reality of life.
Sure. Well, that's kind of how I felt. Like, is it really helping them? Like, if the whole issue was, this is institutional, and, I now have an issue with my father, we now have an issue with the royals, how would this bring them together? So I fully agree with that. But one thing I'm wondering, they had always rumored, like, is Harry actually Prince Charles's child to begin with? And like, from the beginning, was it, part of the issue that Diana cheated with that trainer? Because they had always said that. Does anybody have any thoughts, like, that it's not Charles's kid? The little ginger popped out, surprise, it's the trainers.
Can I add something? That's hilarious. That actually might be true, maybe. But Eugenia spotted an idea. The media, the American media, is attached to Meghan because she's an actress. I wonder how interesting that dynamic was for the royal family. I mean, here they are, and they just kind of get the same type of whatever press from Diana and what they're all going through. And there was like an empire already. And then here Meghan Markle comes in, and it's a different sort of press at this point. So it's like two evil heads type of thing, like the British media, which is, they're proper and this and that, and they have so many labels. But then you're getting new media, you're getting entertainment attached to that. And so it's coming at the royals from another angle. So it would have just been interesting how they kind of have dealt with that stress of everything over time, and how Meghan and Harry were kind of just, pushed off the deep end as far as both medias go, when you think about that and what that led to. But I heard about that story with the with the kid. That's amazing.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it makes sense if he's like a little basket baby, and they're like, all right, you're all royal. And they're like, oh, he's got media. Time to get rid of these two. I don't know, in my mind. And what I'm really curious, why did Prince William age so badly? What the hell happened? He started off cute, and now he's like bald and goofy. I mean, I don't know what happened. He turned into Dumbo. Like, what happened?
The service life is so stressful. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the Diana film, which I think was well made, and just to see how much it requires, to put a mask and a face on, and what do you need to do, and like, where do you have the freedom, and maybe you don't have the freedom. So I think the mental health is definitely, like a big thing, and his looks maybe reflect the stress that you have to do to be of service to the kingdom.
The wives look good. Meghan looks great. Kate looks fine, but like the guys, and even Harry, why not get hair, Harry? It says you're Harry. You're lying. You're balding. You're no longer Harry. You were Harry. Now you're anti-Harry. You're balding Harry. So, I mean, he aged better, but the hair, I'm like, come on, even your dad bought some. It's all right. Go get a wig. Go get some sewn in. Go to the hair club for royalty. I don't know. There is one. I don't know. So these are my thoughts. The really important, deep thoughts. Nothing superficial. That's what I care about, really. When we're investigating. Do you think it's good to talk about anybody's public, your personal life in public? Like, so Eugenia, you're kind of like, talking about that as far as how everything can be manipulated. Should people share, like, their past if they still have an ongoing issue? I think that, to me personally, would be, what my line would be in the sand. Like, if I was mad at you, I don't want to have a conversation until I calm down and can talk calmly. Same thing if I had a rift with whether it's, the royal family or with my own family or what have you, I wouldn't want to go public about it until I felt it was resolved and more helpful, because I feel I'm not coming from a good place when I bring it up. What are your thoughts on this? Like airing your dirty laundry, I guess.
I mean, just look at Kanye and what happened to the guy, just like tweeting all these crazy things instead of, calming down and dealing with his mental health issues. So yeah, I definitely think dealing with things privately, and if you have the right intention, or you can acknowledge it, like there is something good if you want to teach people about racism and things like that, but definitely not just like going on Twitter and putting people down and using it as an anger platform.
And what do you think about Twitter? Like, is it a much ado about nothing? It's kind of what I think. Like, they just try to keep, Elon in the press. It doesn't seem like they have anything to say. He took a few journalists down and this and that. Like, does it matter who's running it? Will it change much?
I think Elon want to just overturn the world. He wants to rule the world, and I think he will. He changes the way the voting system works, and I think there is a bigger intention behind his acquisition of the platform, because it's all about that. Like, if you control a big platform, you have a lot of power. So I think his intentions are much more complex than just what we know yet.
Yeah. I mean, look what he did with, Tesla, and like he takes over businesses he knows nothing about, which is interesting. And then just from publicity, makes them like these huge mega corporations. So I don't know. I think, Twitter is going to be fine. I think, lots of people will want to be twats on his Twitter. That's all I'm saying. And you guys brought up
an interesting point though. Is it the money or is it just the power? What's it about these days? I mean, I know a boss from Houston, people know him. He's an Italian business owner and billionaire. He's shamed by a car dealership one day, gets really mad at all the employees that snub him, and the next day walks in and buys all of the dealership and then says, you're fired, it fires all of the employees that have snubbed him. So these things are a real thing,
Wow. I mean, and how do you prove that? Like that you were fired because, you snubbed him, and I guess that's how they get away with it, I assume, without a lawsuit involved or what have you. But we're kind of talking about like Meghan, and they had mentioned like she considered suicide. And now I know recently there's a lot in the press. I forgot the gentleman's name, but he's like only around 22. He got into the NBA. And he recently quit because it was too stressful and he wasn't enjoying it anymore. So God bless that he was able to like not put money and everything, above his own well-being, and that it was too much for him. And then, Steven, Twitch boss, from Ellen, died of suicide, it turns out. So why do we think mental health issues are coming now more to the forefront? Is it helpful to discuss? Is it, something people are ashamed still to discuss, so that's why suicide will still happen? Are there any thoughts on this whole topical issue of like suicide and depression and mental well-being being really top in the press these days?
Well, I can tell you honestly, just being in front of the camera all the time, you have to put a certain energy out, because what you give, and I think a lot of artists are extra sensitive, and they just put this facade on, and we think that everything is fine. And it's usually like the kindest, gentle souls that are out there that you don't know the struggles that they are facing. And they're people who take care of other people all the time. And, because they're in the public eye, there's so much pressure. I think it's so important to share. And as an American culture, I can tell you, it's always about like, I come from a different culture. So here it's always like, I'm great, I'm fine. There's this pressure to always be the smiling, like almost clown, I would say, rather than just, acknowledging, talking about different emotions. And, I think obviously the economics now, whatever the recession, COVID separated us, so we didn't have as much connection. And I think humans thrive on connection, the mental health and talking and discussing things. So Yeah, I think it's a big thing. I think some celebrities canceled doing press, even, and said they don't want to promote movies, and people don't understand how much pressure it is, to put the face on, and nobody actually sees you. They see the projection of you. So I know myself, like I sometimes struggle with that, and I have to, like, I went to India to meditate because I just felt like I needed that time for myself. So I think it's very important to kind of self-regulate when you need time off, or talk to somebody and, be open about it.
Do you think those celebrities, when they talk about their issues, is it relatable to Joe Public? Because to me, when I look at it, everybody aspires, especially in America, to be a celebrity, to have millions of dollars. And that might even be one of the things that might, draw people further into a depression or into an addiction or what have you. So when, Whitney dies in a bathtub, it's hard to feel sorry because she had the whole world and every resource at her fingertips, but she chose, to do whatever drugs and continue on her path. And she was suffering, I'm sure. And it's not to underestimate whatever pain she was going through. But if you compare that to, like, a woman with 4 children, single mother, being evicted, out of their home because they can't make ends meet, I don't know. To me, it's like, who has more issue to complain, who might have no resources to go to versus who does, and does it help to be like, okay, I live in a kingdom, or even Princess Diana. I mean, she had, we started with Harry, bulimia and an unhappy marriage, and she was crying. But I'm like, you're a damn princess. Get over it, baby. Go see a therapist, eat a donut, and move on. Sleep with that trainer, make baby Harry. Like, I don't know. I'm not sympathetic. I just can't be. I'm like, you have too much. Yes. Okay. Oh, the pressure and da-da-da. Yeah, fine. But when you can't eat, when you can't feed your kids, like, to me, and this is like a real issue. Like, when you watch the news, they say so many kids go to bed hungry in, our country, and they have parents, maybe good ones, maybe bad ones, maybe well-intentioned ones who don't know what to do. But I find it very hard to just like sympathize fully with somebody who seemingly has it all, or at least the resources to get the help if they wanted to. I mean, I know it's maybe not a very like Merry Christmas thought, but what do you guys think, Holly or Jeff or Eugenia, about, is it relatable? Is it helpful for them to share their struggles at the top?
I just gotta say something really quick. I feel like it's the pressure. I only can talk because one of my friends, best friend, is actually on one of these reality shows. And when I went to see her, the pressure that they put on them to create these images, she was so depressed because she wasn't truly being who she really is, because they have to put on this facade on TV. So I think once they're up on these pedestals, they have to own up to those images, and it's hard to keep yourself in that not really truthful imagination of who you are versus someone that don't really have it, because that's generally the genuineness of a person that don't have anything. They're broke, they don't have anything. But when you have these things, people are so looking at you, and the eyes are always on you. The expectation is so greater that they break, and they don't have a time to come down and be who they are and say, I struggle with this, or I have this issue, because then people are not going to have their eyes on them as much. So they try to, stay up with these looks and how they perceive themselves. And I think it's unfortunate. And I think that's what's happening. I think people are just snapping, with the COVID and everything. And they were in like a pivotal moment in their life. And now for them not to be able to have that, they're grabbing for that, and they're losing it. Instead of just, like Eugenia said, take a time off and rest and take a deep breath and just absorb everything that has happened and just breathe. I think people are trying to get back to those platforms, and it's not working. That's my perception on it. They're trying to catch up with time.
I also think, like, a lot of times you think that these people have everything figured it out, but actually you don't know their debts. And a lot of, celebrities, they look very shiny on the side, but you have to pay for the publicist. You have like everything, a lot of them are broke. I think that's what happened to the person from Ellen DeGeneres. I think they found out that he was in debt. And, once you have that image of you presented that you're a celebrity, like you can't, you have to deliver. And it's kind of like you were caught in the will. And Diana as well, I think money doesn't buy happiness. It's true. Like you can sit on the couch and get used to it. It can be a golden couch, but it's still a couch. We don't see things the same way after. Like I know I've been poor, I've been rich, and it's definitely like a hole to fill, money. Like I remember when I got my first modeling check, I would buy Prada bags and like, I think it will make me feel happy. And then I bought a Porsche and then I bought whatever, but I think especially in the West, we have this thing as like, okay, I can buy, happiness, but you can't buy it. And I remember that realization. I was in Cannes at the festival and everything was amazing, it was red carpet, people, hair, makeup. And I never felt more alone in my life. And I was like, why do I come back to the hotel and like, I feel drained, because it's all a show. It's not real. Like, who are my real friends who would be there? So I think there's a lot to, to the topic that you brought actually.
Well, I would like to try to see if I can buy happiness. So if anybody would like to send me money, feel free. I would like that golden couch. I'm tired of my Jennifer's convertible and I am just ready to buy happiness. I might buy a life partner too. Why not? How much do you want? You got a 6-pack, 8-pack? All right, let's go for it. And then if it doesn't work, then I'll be like, damn you, Eugenia, you were right. I'd like to try it. It's holiday season, baby Jesus, please help me to buy happiness. That's my wish for this Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and anything else. I'm just putting it out there. What about you, Holly? Oh, you're muted.
I feel like a Cash App account is going to come across the chat at this point.
Please do. My Venmo is. I'm kidding.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, Eugenia touched on it. You touched on it. Jeff touched on it. We all agree, I think, on this chat, on this Zoom, and on this network, that there are resources out there. But I think the problem that I've seen a lot of people have is what's next. Like, okay, I got help. Okay, I spoke out because this was happening. Okay, someone spoke. It's in the media now. I can speak out about it. And there's so many issues and there's so much awareness to that. But then people get the help and it's like, well, what happened? Oh, something got triggered. And then they kind of fall back into it. So I think it's definitely like how you keep responding. You know what I'm saying? Like there are resources out there, but it's like how you keep, and it's so much more than just kind of accountability and stuff. It goes beyond that. Like they're so afraid of falling back in that because like Eugenia said, once that luxury life, once you're able to do that, once you're able to like, go in that kind of path, if I could just be completely real, you don't want to go back to Poe. Like you don't want to go back there. It's a mindset. It's not really the material things. And she was brilliant when she touched on that. It's the mindset and it's the kind of carrying that on. So there's so many resources out there, but that would be my fear. Like I want to save myself. Okay, well, what now? So.
I want to add also, a lot of times, like if you look at people like Amy Winehouse or, Britney Spears, there's so many people behind the machine that are enabling, they kind of like don't care. A lot of artists are surrounded by yes sayers, no matter what, because there's so much money involved in making. And sometimes it's just unfortunate that, nobody will tell you that you have a problem as well.
But where does personal responsibility come in? That's what I'm wondering, because I know, Jeff, you had mentioned about your friend doing reality shows. I've done some and, they're like, oh, well, because of my coloring and I could be sarcastic. They're like, you're the villain. I'm like, F you, I'm the funny guy. And so I just wouldn't do it. Like, say this. I'm like, no, you can't use what I don't give you. But, that's just who I am. And I knew that. And I'm not going to be something I don't want to be or say something, like a lot of things I might say here might like sound harsh or whatever, but it's not coming from a bad place intentionally by any means. I don't know how everything I say is interpreted, but in my mind, if I needed help, or like Michael Jackson wanted a drip, you know, he's asking for an IV drip to go to bed. I mean, at some point he needs to know this isn't normal that I need anesthesia to go to sleep. You know, I mean, you have to have some sort of, you know, sense, even if you are aided and abetted by those people, which I agree. Like, even I know a while back, Eugenia, you were at like one of the premieres for the Elvis movie. Happened always, really, you know, where people would take advantage, or even say, like, you know, with back in the day with Motown and African-American artists, they were taken advantage of, the money was stolen. And maybe these people didn't know. I mean, so there's one thing, but at a certain point, when you know that there could be help, or maybe what I'm doing is wrong, like, why is there no sense that it should be up to you? Like, you know, that the person did make a mistake, and look at all the ramifications of this suicide and of this abuse and the damage left behind for their kids, for their family. And this is why you don't do it. Like, to me, that angle never seems to be out there, even now with, you know, Stephen's recent, you know, suicide. Although I think Ellen killed him. But I'm just saying, you know, I think Ellen had something to do with it, but we'll find out that as time goes on. But anyhow, you know, I don't know. Aren't we too sensitive now? Like, is there no sense of personal responsibility for your own life, whether it's sadness, finding a support team, you know, getting the help, or what do you guys think?
I think.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll wait for you.
I think it's important to be sensitive. I think it just, you know, life is hard. Like, it's not easy. Like, as I said, like, I feel it, you know, everybody's anxious because the robots are replacing us as humans. I can see all this little robots running, you know, instead of like Uber Eats now in Los Angeles. I don't know if you guys seen it. And like, people lose their jobs. You know, the service system, nobody works at the airport, and the robots are literally replacing humans. And I'm a little anxious, you know, my mental health is definitely like, I need to check in more because I'm sensitive to the world outside. Like, I just see something that I don't agree with. And I think also being bombarded with so many different messages and being on all these platforms, like, it also creates, you know, a lot of anxiety as well. So I have to, like, personally, you know, check in with myself, and thank God I can. But some people are just like too far gone, you know, and if they don't have good people around them, that's hard.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say this. I don't know. I just think so different. I'm just up here and I'm just like analyzing the situation. And sometimes when they're like celebrities and they're on platforms and they're well known, we don't really know the backlash that they get, because even when there's positive influence, there's also negative influence, and people saying negative things about that person. It could be a domino effect that changes their mental way of thinking. And a lot of times we don't look at that. We don't know really what really is going on when you're on those platforms. I just know, as a designer, I've, in the last two to 3 years, I've experienced so much of jealousy and hate in people that are around me that I didn't even know felt that way, only because of me stepping into something that I love. It's my passion. And people hate and do things to you for no reason, and your mental capacity starts changing, that you don't trust people. You start kind of isolating yourself because you feel like, who do I really trust? Who do I really open up to talk about what's going on with me? You take that time to open up with one person and they're laughing in your face only because they felt like your platform could be their platform. I just look at stuff so opposite, because people are going through not just mentally with mental issue. It could be other things going on that affect that cause those issues. And I see it so much in just my life, you know, what's going on with me and the open doors and opportunity. It's not a feel good. And sometimes we're on the camera and we're smiling, but once we get off of those cameras or, you know, on those platforms, we're hurting because, you know, somebody has offended or said something crazy out of the way to us. And we're just like, I'm just trying to live my life. I'm trying to be great in my own way. And you're over here backstabbing me because I'm trying to do something amazing, change people's life, the influence or whatever their platform was created for that particular purpose. That's what I just see. It just hit me when y'all were talking that could it be other things going on mentally with, some of these celebrities, because they do get a lot of backlash. People talk about their drugs and, you don't know the effects and the root behind why they're taking drugs or why they're doing this or why they're doing that. So to me, it's a big cry out. People don't want to admit that just because they got money, it could be a big cry out. But who's going to be genuine enough to put their arm around them, embrace them without any hidden agenda, and love them in spite of if they have an issue or if they don't have an issue? That's just my perception on it.
Well, Chad, I feel that's why money can buy happiness, because you can buy a therapist to say that you're
we're looking at people with money and it's not buying happiness.
You just buy that person to be like, yes, you are better. Yes, you're the best designer, Jeff. Yes, you're going to hell. I was like, yeah, baby Jesus hates them. They're getting coal in their stocking. That's what I'm saying. Buy that golden couch. Buy that therapist and send me your Venmo. I'm just kidding.
Jesus stole my better.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen. It's going to come across the screen at any moment. Good deal.
Oh God. I'm listening. But yeah, that's
talking about like things that may or may not be real, like people's perceptions of you and like social media. What about all the virtual art and virtual sales and NFTs now? Like I saw like Trump did some sort of trading cards where he put himself on like superhero bodies. And I think they sold out for like millions of dollars at like $99 a pop. So clearly I'm assuming most of the people who bought them are just supporters who maybe make an average wage. And you can't even get a printout of that trading card. I mean, it doesn't really exist, but yet you own it. Like, is virtual currency, is virtual trading cards, is this the future? Like, does it really have worth? Is it just because we say it has worth? Like a credit card. I mean, honestly, like if I think of crypto, what's the difference with a credit card? It's an IOU and people accept it that you're going to pay it. But if you didn't, you'd lose your credit card, or vice versa. Any thoughts with like what's going on and people buying kind of online imaginary art or trading cards and all that craziness?
So I just came from Vegas and like I finally could say it on my show. I'm like, finally Vegas became more real than the real world, because the only things that matter is the things that don't exist, like likes on Instagram and all the crypto and NFT things that we can't touch. Like finally I feel Vegas is more real. So I don't know. I was having this discussion with my daughter, on the way here, and the kids, they understand, especially growing up in LA. She's asking me about all these things, and don't start me on Trump, because it's just, for me, America, they thrive on, this sensationalism. So it's just a pity for me that no matter what he does, and I'm not talking from political perspective at all, just like narcissism just rules, this country is like me, no matter what. And I just can't stand up for that. And also look at the guy who was arrested, the scheme that he did with the cryptocurrency that he attached all the celebrities and, poor people who lost their life savings maybe in that. Like, where does it end? I don't know. I think it's a crazy thing. And I don't think it's worth it. Like I've researched, my husband researched, and we buy art and collect art, but it just, long term, I don't know. I mean, it's very risky. Like you definitely have to be a gambler, I think, to invest in those things in a way.
What do you feel, Jeff, Holly?
I'm going to say, I think it was on an all-time rise once upon a time, but I think that people were still questioning whether to do it. I think that it's going to crash. I think that new currencies are happening all the time, but honestly, I think we're using so many apps or online everything these days. So I think our cash is, I fully believe that our cash is going to become value. Like that's literally where society is going anyway. Like everything's online these days, and the phone's reading things and this and that. And so I know people who literally, like this one woman, she's a crypto like maniac, whatever. She paid attention to that, and her bank account's like over hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's like, that's all that, like, she's trained to look at it. like that. And so it's all online. The point is all these YouTube things, all these access, everything is online. It's all apps. It's all like, that's where everybody's training to go. Like you don't rely on anything anymore. So you kind of have to study this and study that. What I'm trying to say is I miss the days where you kind of had to manually do stuff. So I don't see, I respect the crypto thing. I respect that currency. I respect investments like that. But at the end of the day, I say just roll up your hands, just roll up the sleeve of your, roll up your arm sleeves and just use your hands at the end of the day and develop that skill for whatever you want to do. Because that really kind of builds character to me, and not, like Eugenia said, you just kind of get this tunnel vision for, narcissism and other things like that. And it's just, where's the work, So yeah, that's just my take.
What I don't understand is, like, Eugenia, you're mentioning art. So if you bought art that is only virtual, how do you share it? And because like so many people will like donate their art, when they pass, or to family members, and you may have it up for other people to enjoy as well as yourself. Or these people who bought the Trump trading cards, what do you do? I mean, you could just take a picture of the Trump trading card online and say you bought it. Like, who would know the difference? I don't get it. I could take a picture of Van Gogh and be like, I own it.
I know, my daughter said exactly the same thing. She's 11. She's like, hey, I see some business potential here.
Yeah, let's do it. I like how she thinks.
Yeah, I was trying to find out, when it first started and people were buying those monkeys. I don't know if you remember NFT monkeys, like it was a thing.
Yeah.
And, it's all stored in a specific cloud, but, maybe yeah, you can't touch it. It's in the cloud, and you have like an, authentication process that goes into that it's like an artist who did it and it's not fake. But at the same time, yeah, you can't enjoy it. Like it's not real.
No, it's not tangible at all. To me, it's just so bizarre. I understand the currency, because to me, it's almost like using a credit card or Venmo or what have you. As long as other people agree it exists, because really, what makes the value of the dollar? It's just that people agree on it. It's a piece of paper. It's not really something that has monetary value. It's just because we say it does. But as far as like being a work of art or what have you, when you have to go online and try to find it, you really own it? I mean, you really enjoy this? To me, it just seems so odd.
Yeah, me personally, I don't trust it. I don't like it. I'm an artist. I think it's quick fix schemes. And I just don't like, I think people just, at the time when, especially crypto, when it was happening, it was a time when the COVID, everything was going on, and people just wanted a way. They just wanted money, and somebody came up with an idea and people are buying into it. I don't trust it. I have not trusted ever since it has existed. It's just, to me, it's just something that people are doing, and it's going to crash. I don't see it long term. That's just my opinion. I think it's people making money off of a situation at that particular time. But as an artist, I don't like it.
Okay.
I love my art. I want people to have it and feel the value of it. To me, it's no value in it.
Yeah, and are they all computerized images? And that's what the art is, I'm assuming, that they're selling online? I mean, how else would you?
Well, you can go, there's websites, specific websites like galleries, and you go in this gallery and you can like put them out. It's almost like a video game. So you go and you look at the painting, and then you go around and you look at another painting. So it's like, it's a world. It's a, metaverse.
And how does it feel real? Because I even heard like now like celebrities selling property and like their metaverse and all this other stuff, but you can't live there. If you're homeless, you can't go to that metaverse house and say, let me in. So I just don't get the point. And like Snoop Dogg's like laughing all the way to the bank, as he does another commercial with Martha Stewart. I just don't get it,
There are certain things that are coming out about this whole metaverse thing, right? Like this whole other world aren't there so many things coming out about it, like dangerous things too? Like one woman claimed that something happened to her in the metaverse, like something really bad sexually happened, or like a rape or something, right? That came on the headlines? Yeah, weird. Yeah, just crazy.
How did she get in there? And how did the rapist get in there? And did they actually physically touch? Like, I just do not understand.
Like
this.
Matrix, you guys. It's like Matrix. We're just in all this multiverse realities. And it's, yeah, like virtual reality, literally.
And making it too real, though.
But I mean, look at it. The royal family can't get along. And then, people are having all these depression issues. Now we're going to create another world to screw people up? Like, I don't get it. Like here's option 3. Not unhappy enough? Let's go to the metaverse where you get imaginarily raped. I don't understand this. That's insane. You were attacked or whatever the case may have been. I hadn't heard about it. But I mean, to me, it's just really kind of, why do we need a fake universe? I don't understand this. Like, you're poor, your wife doesn't love you, you abandoned your children, but in the metaverse, I'm Superman. Like, so now you feel good? I don't know.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can buy all this like clothes online, right? A lot of designers do that as well. Like you can dress like in, fake or real, whatever Gucci, pants, but they're only metaverse.
I guess if you get fat, that's good. You can still fit in them, or if you lose a lot of weight or what have you. I mean, I guess that's the benefit of metaverse clothing. But then when you walk outside your door naked, you might get arrested in the metaverse. I don't know.
That's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
That's crazy.
Oh, I think I heard somewhere they're gonna have babies, right, in metaverse or something like that.
What?
Like if you can't have real kids, you can have a baby in a metaverse and you can raise the baby.
And who's collecting the money for this baby? Because now you got imaginary feed it, imaginary clothe it, imaginary school it, imaginary college it, like Prince Harry, like in the metaverse. So then you have a whole new set of issues. I don't get it. I'm not
Complicated. It's very complicated.
I can't handle it. I'm sorry. I don't know, folks.
A Barati in the metaverse.
Crazy. All right. Any final thoughts? Anything that happened to you guys this weekend that you want to share?
Well, I did a photo shoot today.
Nice.
Yeah, not me personally, but a young lady, she was pregnant, and I was one of the designers, and it was so freezing cold. He took it out like near the beach, and it was beautiful, but I had so much sympathy for her. She was so freezing. She had on hardly no clothes. I was just like, okay, she is really, really freezing. But it was, once we got inside, she was good. It was a beautiful shoot. So that was my day.
So she has hypothermia, but it came out good.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I'm kidding.
Her husband, yeah, they wanted
Are you going to sell your clothes on the metaverse now, Jeff? Now that there's a whole demand for it?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. All right. Just curious. What about anybody else?
That's beautiful, Jeff.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy. I can't do the metaverse. That's too much, y'all. Every time I hear y'all talk about it, like, that's mental issue right there in itself. Like, you're living your life in this fake world. I can't. It's
Well, and speaking about that, I don't know how about you guys, like your goals for next year, and people were asking me like, Eugenia, what are your goals? Like, you're doing so much. And I'm like, I want to slow down and I want to write a poetry book. Literally. I'm inspired, to go back to like whatever, the pure way of art and the word, and learn more. I mean, obviously I'd never written a poem or a song before. Like, I've done some stand-up, but it's a beautiful challenge that I want to take on, and I want to deliver something personal and hopefully touch somebody's heart somehow, hopefully.
Nice.
like
Yeah,
it.
my goal is to become friends with Elon Musk and take over the metaverse and buy happiness with all that money. So that's my goal for the next year. I'm just saying, and if it doesn't work out, I'll buy the therapist and just say, I'm right. What about you, Holly? Any big plans for next year?
No, really just more entertainment and more film, more acting myself. And to just stay youthful, just stay young and strong, really, because, the world is weary enough and everyone's so negative. Just do my part, bring back the love, stay youthful, stay fresh, stay focused and continue what I'm doing. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. Jeff and Eugenia have set the bar high now. It's, so have you, like your Cash App out there and your Venmo. And
I'll buy you. I'll
Jeff.
buy you. I have no shame, so that's why I'm sticking with the same goal. Be like, okay, eat healthy, do good. I'm gonna be like lipo in, out. Take it back. Make me look 9. I'm gonna start my whole life over again. I'll be a metaverse baby. I'm just starting from scratch, just with enough money. Let's see. I don't know.
That's funny. My friend just met Elon Musk this year, but he met him on Halloween and he thought it was a guy who was dressed like Elon Musk, but it turns out it was Elon Musk.
Oh, I love it. It'd be extra funny if he said like nasty things, thinking it was like a joke, like ha ha ha, like about.
Elon Musk was stuck behind my friend at the crazy valet for like half an hour. There was some kind of an accident, so my friend was just like dying. He's like, "It is real, Elon Musk. Can you stuck now? Give me a Tesla."
I love it. What about you, Jeff? Any big goals for the coming year?
I got some stuff kind of brewing. I don't know the details. Someone told me today there is some things that I'm gonna be a part of. I'm supposed to be still going to Germany for
Nice.
my city tour. I'm one of the designers. So I don't know. I'm absorbing the open doors and opportunities. And I expect great things in 2023. I want to travel the world and show love.
Oh.
My main thing is to give love because we don't have enough of that in the earth. I really want to do that. That is my main goal, is to constantly, even the more, show more love in the earth. And I am going to do it.
That's beautiful.
Do my journey.
Yay. I love it. That's awesome. Well, this was fun. I love this little special Hanukkah edition of the FNL talk show. So pretty cool. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for starting us off, Eugenia. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Holly, everybody. And maybe you'll see us here, or maybe you'll see us in the metaverse next. Who knows what's gonna happen? Poetry, clothing, Holly, my greed, all in the metaverse. Who knows? Next season.
2023. Yes.
Yes, I'm gonna own the metaverse.